You have all of these LLMs that are, MCPs that are making all of these trades. They don't sleep, they don't get tired, they don't ask for annual leave, they don't ask for anything. All they need is tokens. You have the tokens, they will trade.
With Ethereum dropping below 2,000, bro, I don't know, man. Ethereum's a Ponzi scheme. I reckon ETH is
Ponzi.
I reckon there's just no saving ETH in the sense that like we haven't seen an all-time high in a millennia, and if it does come back anywhere near where it was, like, $5 grand plus, then the entire market would have to be so hot. It's unbelievable.
This year, a gay dating app has outperformed Ethereum in 2026. Let that sink in.
And this Bitcoin would definitely hit a low. Will it hit 50? I don't know. I'd have to draw some trend lines, but even if it does hit 50 gold, like, it's a win. It's a win. Because it will be 300 one day. It will be 500k one day.
The content presented in this podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only. It should not be considered as financial advice, and listeners are encouraged to conduct their own research or consult with a qualified professional before making any investment decisions.
Crypto flip.
In this week's episode, we'll be exploring which chains and which exchanges will now let you use AI to manage your portfolio and help you make gains. We'll also be talking about the state of the market since the agreed peace deal between America and Iran and what effect that's had not only on oil but in crypto. We'll also talk about Bitmain's stock crashing over 90% in the stock market. And finally, something that might bring the trenches back, or maybe it's just nothing. Pump Fund launches a bunch of new chains, so we'll get into that too. But before we talk about anything, you know what we have to do? We have to ease into things. We have to talk to our friends who are degens and get into some crypto confessions. I worked for a company in crypto for the past 5 years. All my savings were in our token, around 100k. Recently, the CEO quit and the company closed, taking with it my savings of the past 5 years and 65% of my vested tokens gone in an instant. Now I am on welfare, as if the last 5 years never happened. Take your wins when you can and don't hope for it to become more.
Why on earth did this Don have all of his money in a company that he worked for that was already paying?
He was in it for the tech, bro. It was in it for the tech, innit? That's why, bro.
Bro, idiot. But then, surely, your CEO told you that they were going to leave the company before it was made public. Like, surely you didn't find out on the day. And in any sense, bro, like, if you work for this company and the CEO does all hands meeting, he's like, yeah, listen, guys, I'm going to leave the company. Bro, you are the first to know. Like, you are an insider. You are the first to know. And you just held. Bro, you deserve the fate you got, bro. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm sorry to hear it, but it is what it is.
Bro, he's a diamond in the hand kind of guy, fam. He's in it for the tech, bro. Because if you're not in it for the tech, why would he would, anyone that was obviously in it for profit would have sold. Whether you were on pro or whether you saw 20% down on your portfolio. But at the end of the day, the situation was like, there's nothing wrong with what he did, but he probably should have cashed out on his risk long time ago, because it didn't need to get to a point where, like, you're now all savings in and now relying on a company's balance sheet to be healthy and your revenue to be growing. Like, there's just not the way to kind of manage your investment, and being all in one basket is just a cautionary tale. We've heard this time and time and again. People YOLO into perp trades, YOLO into meme coins, YOLO into ICOs, and just wipe out an entire portfolio. So I think more the lesson is, don't do that. Do whatever he did, do the opposite. Don't invest your money in a company you're already working with. If they're giving you a token and you let it ride to zero, cool, it's a different story. But your own savings, I don't understand that. I mean, maybe he added some insider knowledge that this token was going to the moon. Of course, you bought into the Kool-Aid they were selling to you during the interview. Like, obviously, you bought into it. That's why you put his life savings at camera, bro. Like, you go home, tell your partner, yeah, so, we're going to buy a house. I'm going to take that money and put it in this token. It's going to change our lives. and now you have this. It's just peak. So whatever you've done, let us be a cautionary tale. Don't do it. Do the opposite.
I've always had the notion that founders are professional liars. And when you understand that, you can move how you need to move in life. Because there's no way you should go from $100,000 to welfare. That is quite, the contrast. But look, it's an expensive lesson, not just financially, but in terms of your ego. You've really taken on, what it really means to potentially trust or not trust, in this instance, your employer. That shouldn't be your only source of income. And even if it is, like, there's no need for you to double dip. You're already getting paid there. You don't need to keep all of your life savings there. And even if you didn't leave, you've got market cycles to contend with too. So one way or another, you're going to get screwed. What you should have done is you should have diversified, either go into Bitcoin, other tokens. I'm not sure which market cycle this is. Or it would have even been better to keep it in cash, despite inflation. So there's other options that you should have explored. And if you manage to make back a lot of money next time, and the owner's privately telling everyone you're not allowed to sell your tokens or whatever else, yeah, just ignore that guy. Just do what you need to do for you, because guaranteed he's okay. But it is what it is. Welcome back to the Crypto Flip podcast. I am your host, Harris King, and I am joined once again with my co-hosts, Ricardo and Dedi. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on audio platforms, don't forget to leave a comment, because it really helps us create new episodes. If it's your first time here, the three of us are active investors and traders in crypto, and we go into the trenches and explore what you should be doing and what you should be focusing on to help you become a better trader and or investor. So with that being said, let's get into the first story. Base. A lot of you are familiar with that chain. They have recently announced that MCPs will be launched or have launched, which will enable AI agents to connect to your Base account and to manage your portfolio, which is pretty interesting. I know we've spoken about AI agents a number of different times within recent weeks, and it seems to be something that keeps cropping up. So I think it's something you should probably be paying attention to. But effectively, this is how it works. So you select your LLM, you connect it to your account, and then you can, based on your different strategies, enable it to manage your portfolio, grow your portfolio, make trades, a lot of different things. There's a lot of ways in which you can use the information that, AI can provide to either be actionable or maybe even for research purposes. But they weren't the only one. Robinhood was also rolling out AI agents, which will enable you to trade stocks and also make credit card purchases on behalf of users via tools like Claude. So it seems like AI agents are not only the future, but are things that are happening now. And if you don't leverage them, you may get left behind if you don't know what you're doing. What do you guys make of that?
Bro, the fact that they're doing MCPs is basically a money grab. Hear me out.
Okay.
You always had the ability to do everything that you just mentioned using APIs previously. Now you can do MCPs, which means that they're opening up the pool of people that are able to make all of these things, like make trades via MCP or a bunch of different stuff. I'll go through some of the plugins, the skills that I've seen, but basically they're just opening it up to people that are less technical, which basically is going to promote masses of over trading, which basically is going to run up their fees, bro. Like, that's the real reason behind doing this. And then I had a little look at some of the skill plugins that are going to be there, some of the most interesting ones. There's this one called Moonwell, which will explore lending markets, supply assets, and borrow against collateral. Again, something that you could have used a regular API to get data for. Virtuals, so discover recent launches, sort agent tokens by market data, and take token actions through chat. Blah blah blah. Listen, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. Like, as somebody who's actively using agents to trade via API, yeah, this might make my workflow easier. But I think it's just I think it's just a money grab. Like, I don't know if this was a heavily requested feature, or if it's just
It definitely wasn't a heavily requested feature, bro. It definitely was not. Because people don't even understand MCP, it's called servers yet. Something that's slowly being rolled out. And I mean, I think you're completely correct, bro. I mean, this is take notes, everybody. This is how you stay relevant in bear markets. This is how you stay hot. It's how you stay at the forefront of investors, retail investors, even VCs to a certain point. Because, like, whilst you were talking, Rick, I've done just a little quick research. I'm thinking, Base would be more relevant if they had a token, if they had a native token. But they didn't have a native token because of, I don't know, maybe because they're owned by Coinbase. Coinbase already publicly traded. Is there a conflict of interest of having both kind of like dual ownership in your company structure? Like, what does the token kind of represent value-wise in that ecosystem compared to Coinbase? Just a lot of complexity to it, but I feel like they'll be more relevant if they ever get a token. But they're not. So this is just a money grab. I think this is just to get more people to come, blow up the trading volume so they can take higher fees and more cuts. And here's the evidence I have to kind of back that up. Go and look at the quarterly earnings for Coinbase in the last couple of quarters. It's been going down because obviously less and less trading volume. So Coinbase have to cleverly find ways to kind of extract more money from users, whether it's kind of inviting them to come and trade on Base because there's MCP agents now, or if it's lowering the trading fees or kind of stuff. So yeah, you're completely right, Rick.
If you are, I mean, AI is only ever as good as, the instructions you give it. So if you're a bit clueless as to what you should be doing, then this is probably not the most recommended thing for you to utilize in order for you to grow your portfolio. Because you can give it, because I think we're probably going to get to a stage, right, where it's going to be AI versus AI. And then, you'll have a few people that are still manually trading, but you're probably going to either have to be a super noob or you're going to have to be like a world-class trader for that to even make sense. But I think there's going to be an equalizer, which is AI, and then you're going to have to figure out how to get an edge because everyone's using the same skills, the same LLMs, all of these things, and everyone's using AI. Then it's like, how do you gain an edge? Well, at this point, a lot of people aren't really using AI. I mean, people are using, obviously, Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini for like basic tasks. But in terms of crypto, the masses aren't using AI. It's just a subsect of a subset. Number one, retail is not back, obviously. Number two, even for those who are still here, a lot of people are still getting to grips with how to best utilize AI. But in spite of that, yeah, I do agree with, what Rick was saying. It definitely is a way to boost, trading volume. If you have all of these LLMs that are, MCPs that are making all of these trades and they don't sleep, they don't get tired, they don't ask for annual leave, they don't ask for anything. All they need is tokens. You have the tokens, they will trade. And yeah, what I would be interested to see is if you give it, give it the separate account, give it a bunch of money, maybe even do like a human versus AI trade, like almost competition, if you like, and see which one comes out on top. At least at this stage. I know there's been a lot of progression. I think last night Claude released 4.8.
But then even thinking about that, like, what would it be trading? Like, what would be the strategy it would be using? Because they're not giving you a strategy. They're just saying, we're allowing you to go wild.
It's a tool. But that's what I'm saying. So if you have you might have all the tools in the world, but if you don't have the right strategy, then it's a bit meaningless. At least right now, there'll probably be like more skills or more trading styles and stuff like that to come. I haven't really looked too much into it myself, but if that isn't like universal right now, it's something that will come. But again, that will only be effective so long as the majority of people aren't using it, because once everyone uses it, then it becomes null and void. So yeah, it's a bit of a tough one. I think if you get on it early, you have a strategy, it works because you've done it manually, then it's something you can just use to enhance what you're already doing. If you're just hoping AI is just gonna do it by itself and say, yeah, make me some money in the market, and you click enter on on the prompt, yeah, somehow I don't think that's gonna work.
Yeah, I think just a quick follow. I reckon, aside from the whole like agent economy where you have agents buying stuff for people autonomously, and now potentially you can use crypto to do that. Like, who's to say that you can't use this to say, hey, go and buy me a holiday, but make the payment with my base account. Like, cool. But putting all of that aside, is there any alpha in this? I don't know. It kind of depends on the skills. If there is if somebody wants to go in and decide, I'm going to build some statistical arbitrage bot that's going to look on all of the assets on base and compare them to linked assets on Hyperliquid, BNB, like all the other layer 1, that have wrap tokens, maybe there's some money in there. But yeah, straight out the bat, Coinbase releasing this, like, that strikes me as money grab.
It's definitely potentially a money grab, but something that isn't being grabbed right now is Bitcoin, because Bitcoin dipped to $73,000 amid what you would think would be the opposite, as Iran and the USA recently announced a peace deal, which has since been violated, and oil actually fell to below $90, which is generally good news because that means things aren't going to be as expensive and it slows down inflation. But it appears as though it's had a negative effect on Bitcoin and crypto as a whole. Bitcoin wasn't the only thing to go down. I believe that Ethereum briefly dipped below $2,000 as well. So yeah, the market seems to be in turmoil. And here's a little prediction for you. One of the prediction markets, or gambling sites as I like to call them, Kalshi, said that there is a 50% chance that Bitcoin drops to below $50,000 this year. So yeah, what's your take on the market? And what do you guys think?
I mean, I'll start with prediction markets. First of all, most of the DJ and gamblers that are going on these prediction markets, hold tight them. I love to see it. I love to see the mad odds / slightly future telling abilities that they have. But I guess Bitcoin going down to 50K, bro. I don't feel like that's impossible for sure. Like, even at 40K, Bitcoin is still holding strong. Not holding strong. It's holding okay in a bear market. Will it go to that level? I don't know. It's possible. From where we are now, I just can't see it. I reckon we're gonna bottom out. Probably somewhere. Actually, maybe not that far off. Maybe like 55, 60. If it goes down to 50, happy days. Just buy more. With Ethereum dropping below 2,000, bro, I don't know, man. Ethereum's a Ponzi scheme. I reckon ETH is
Ponzi.
I reckon there's just no saving ETH in the sense that, like, we haven't seen an all-time high in a millennia, and if it does come back anywhere near where it was, like, $5,000 plus, then the entire market would have to be so hot. It's unbelievable. And the reason why I say I feel like Ethereum as a whole is like dead is because, bro, when you look through the market right now, yeah, you're seeing things like 5, 6, 10% down across the top 100. But you look at the tokens that haven't gone down, or like that are actually doing well over the last 7 days, even with the drop. Tokens like Near and Hyperliquid, which printed a new all-time high. Bro, if that money went into ETH would be strong. Like, ETH has lost confidence in the market. And you can see that just because there's other altcoins that are doing well in the top 100, and they continue to do well.
Sorry, Smith. Why do you think that people have lost confidence with ETH then?
I don't know, man. I feel like it's because of the whole nothing new is happening. Really, not really. Vitalik's not come out and say, I'm gonna solve world hunger. Like, nothing new is happening with ETH. It's not exciting or sexy right now versus some of the crazy movers. It didn't do that well when everything was bull marketing. It didn't make a new all-time high. It just kind of dotted around. Yeah, I just feel like people feel like, what's the point of investing in ETH? Bitcoin outperformed ETH like drastically over the last cycle. So if you wanted gains, just buy Bitcoin, which is the better asset anyway. As we all know, everything else is just a lagging indicator of how Bitcoin is going to do in the market. So I reckon that's what that is. And the whole oil falling below $90. I mean, I hope I start to see that at the petrol pumps, but at the end of the day, we might not. On Monday, it could just flip and go the other way, because this has been, bro, oil is moving like a meme coin, bro. I don't know if you guys have seen the charts. It's moving like a meme.
Because of Trump.
Yeah, bro. Every time Trump jumps on his phone and makes a tweet, it's like a rug or a reverse rug, whichever way you want to look at it. But yeah, I reckon things are probably gonna play out. I reckon Bitcoin will definitely hit a low. Will it hit 50? I don't know. I'd have to draw some trend lines, but even if it does hit 50, like, it's a win. It's a win. Because it will be 300 one day. It will be 500k one day. So, yeah. Where do you marry?
Listen, yeah. I think for me, I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with, with the recent price drop. I mean, yesterday we were like, I think it was yesterday. We were a lot closer towards 80k. All of a sudden, it's because obviously we got rejected hard from the 200 moving average. And obviously we saw it going down, but we didn't go below 75k. All of a sudden, I get a notification on my phone. Down. I'm like, what's going on? Did the inflation data come out? No, what's going on? It's been another talks of Iran and US talks breaking down, even though they're on a 60-day ceasefire, which is the reason why crude oil is actually traded consistently well below $100, because if there was no ceasefire, I think obviously companies will feel like supply will be disrupted, and then obviously that will kind of price in a premium into oil, but it's not. So all indication kind of points towards this being fixed and could potentially give Bitcoin a good rally. You know what I mean? Like, I think I'm looking up on the market now. There's a few action that I'll probably take. Like, 1 month will probably have the best performing month for BTC. Will BTC hit 90k first before it hit 70k? Those are some interesting market, but the market that definitely want to hammer is the market you said just now. Will Bitcoin hit 55k this year? I think it will, and the reason why I think that is, when you look historically, and I think everyone should just go home and do their research, go look at the charts here. Historically, Bitcoin consistently tops in the fourth quarter of the post-halving year. So a year after a post-halving, that's when it tops. Go check when we had that rally to 126. What quarter it was. You know what I mean? It was Q4. And I think Bitcoin usually, based on historical price analysis as well, hits his yearly low near the end of midterm. So Trump came into office 1st of Jan 2025. So 2 years removed will be end of this year, Q4. So I think that's when we're likely to get probably a bottom of this market. So I think we'll probably see 50k BTC at the end of the year. That's what I'm predicting. That's what I think is most likely to happen. I think that's more, I'm willing to bet my money on that happening than betting on 4-year cycle is dead and we're gonna hit a blow off top of 150k. Like, I would sell the 150k. Any 150k market, like there's the market on thingy. When would BTC hit 150k? By December 31st of 2026, it's on 8%. That's already on that. By June 30, 2026, 1% probability of that happening. So it just goes to show, like, I mean, 4-year cycle is not dead. I could go on and on and on and on and on about the 4-year cycle, how like people were thinking because we topped out on apathy, 4-year cycle might be dead. If we go look at S&P 500, it's topped on apathy before, and it's had its bear market before rising again. So we're not gonna skip the bear market now, all because of ETF flows and smart money being in this space, and that's why we're gonna have another blow off top. No, 4-year cycle is still intact. So that's what I have to say.
Yeah, so I think that where we are now, we're just sitting around 73k. It dipped briefly below that during the week, and well, obviously it's still in the bear market. What I find interesting is that, for example, BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF saw a $527.8 million outflow on May 27th, which is the largest daily outflow since its inception. And I know we covered some other institutions doing a lot of selling last week as well. So it seems like institutions are also selling, which may be part of the reason why Bitcoin is falling, which is obviously whenever Bitcoin falls, the rest of the market falls unless, it's just going into alts, which you haven't seen for a while. But ultimately, I think we need some perspective. And I saw this post, which I thought was quite interesting. So this post was from a Bitcoin forum, and it was on July the 9th, 2011. And I'm just going to read it out. So this is 15 years ago, almost. This is why I have liquidated my position in Bitcoins. There is very little upside going forward. No forward moves of late have any traction whatsoever, and demand continues to lag. Way too little upside for such a risky proposition, so my advice is to move into dollars. Only a significant change in the economy could alter this forecast. Well, the economy didn't change much, but Bitcoin certainly did. And, I think it just really gives perspective. A lot of people, myself included, it can be frustrating when Bitcoin's obviously not having this blow off top or, a meteoric rise or what we've seen in previous cycles, because the market has changed. But I think when you're impatient and you make rash decisions and, you sell your long-term positions and, institutions come and sweep that up, it's not really a rational thing to do, because Bitcoin today is 73k, but we all know it's going up. If you believe in it long term, we're potentially touching numbers of 500,000, 1 million. And if you just look at the data, a lot of people haven't gotten into Bitcoin, and that's just retail. Forget about institutions. Speaking of institutions, I remember seeing that because they had to disclose, SpaceX obviously is going to IPO, I think, on June 12th. Which is coming up soon, and I had to disclose obviously their financials, etc., and they're sitting on a Bitcoin back, and I think it's their average buying was quite low, relatively speaking. I can't remember exactly. Was it 30,000, 20,000? I can't remember. But these institutions are buying. Obviously, it's Elon Musk, who loves doubling in Bitcoin. But when more and more of these companies start doing it, and you have all of this tumultuous stuff in TradFi, it will look a bit more attractive. So have a bit more patience, and you come out the other side a bit unscathed. But something that's not coming out unscathed is Bitmain, because the stock crashed 90%. So this is a result of $8 billion in ETH losses. That's a significant number, and it's not even within crypto itself. It's obviously a stock. So the stock plummeted from $161 in July 2025, where it peaked, to $18.82 as of May 27th, 2026, which, mirrors ETH drops and, hasn't been great. What do you make of this, and how do you think that's going to affect the larger crypto ecosystem? Because obviously there's a lot of crypto companies on the stock market as well.
We're going into a bear market now. A lot of these companies are going to start having negative balances on their balance sheet because either they have lower volumes or they just have less interest in crypto and less interest in their product, so they have less eyeballs on their product. But I feel like this is going to be, I wouldn't say it's the first, but it's probably going to be one of the start of companies that are just gonna get hammered, bro, like over the next few months, and we'll see which ones of them survive. Every bear market, a bunch of crypto companies die. We always see it on our confessions. So I'd be interested to see if there's gonna be anything new coming from Bitmine. I can't imagine it, bro. I can't, like, next week we're gonna hear about how Bitmine created the MCP so that you can use their platform.
I was just about to say, not shop AI feature or something.
And potentially, they've, now you can trade stocks and shares on their platform. I see the desperation increasing, but yeah, this is what it is, bro. Like, if you can't survive this market, then, you're just gonna be stuffed. I reckon if anyone has money on Bitmine, like, you just have to get that off, like, now, for sure. And I know they used to be like a full mining company, but obviously as time goes on, difficulty gets worse. I guess they should have always had a plan for what happens if difficulty becomes too high, or if mining becomes too, if it becomes unprofitable, like what to do from there. And I feel like the reason why their stock price dropped so heavily is because they didn't have a good enough contingency, bro. Like, their profits have fallen off a cliff. Anyway, better them than me still. What I love though is this guy is just like Tommy Lee, the founder. He's like, yeah, I did it then. I'm gonna do it again.
Listen, oh my God, where do I even start with this, fam? Bro, prior to you becoming an ETH maxi, your thing that made Tom Lee special, or whatever the name this dun is called, was that he was one of the first duns on the market selling Bitcoin mining machines. And I understand the pivot. I understand, obviously, now we're getting closer to the last block completion. It's becoming more difficult to mine. With energy prices soaring, you thought, let me bet on Ethereum. Obviously, as a joke, I sent it to you, man, innit? But it's actually true. This year, a gay dating app has outperformed Ethereum in 2026. Let that sink in. And this Dunny, imagine he started with 2 billion purchase in ETH, and it wasn't doing really well. Then he did another 2.5. Then he did another 2 bill. And obviously that's around like 6.5 bill. Anyone with any common sense would have stopped. Let's say, cool, let's just wait for the market to kind of, because you're right, obviously people are mocking him, but he didn't really borrow too much money. But I don't know about that though. I need to look deeper into his balance sheet to see how over leveraged he is, because where's he getting all this money from? You telling me he's using his company cash to do this? Or is he issuing bonds? He's got to be issuing some kind of debt somewhere that we're not seeing. Because obviously, I'm not going to take X-Man to the bank. But what I'm trying to say is, like, you switch from Bitcoin mining, which I can understand. You bought more and more ETH, even though you were down year on year on your portfolio, on your ETH portfolio. And when it's clear that we're not sure what this market's going to be like, obviously, crypto hasn't really had its blow off top. This bull market has been kind of underwhelming. Even ETH topped 4.5 ETH? Rick, what did they top ETH this year? This cycle was 4.5, isn't it? So 4.5k for 4.5, 4.8. Yeah, actually, I think it was 4.8 because I think he made a new all-time high, just a little bit, just another $20. literally. But for me personally, the effect that, and it takes someone to it takes someone to kind of be true to themselves and really understand, why am I really putting all of my money into this asset? Like, what has gotten me so in love with this asset? Because you shouldn't ever be in love with any asset, including BTC. And you know how great BTC is. But I just feel like prior to the previous cycle, Vitalik is not making the same effect he used to make before. The same way like we priced it Elon Musk. Elon Musk used to move the market so crazily. Now you can say something about BTC or whatever, it doesn't matter. And I'm not saying Vitalik is not a genius. Of course he's a genius. But being a genius does not necessarily mean your token is going to keep just ascending forever, fam. So, and Tom Lee to keep buying ETH, buying. I mean, you got what you deserve, mate. Like, what are you thinking? Like, if you're buying BTC, at least you can bet your house, you can bet your life on it that BTC will come back even stronger and make a decent run. If BTC will do like, okay, cool, we're having a rally now, I'm gonna go to $126,000. We'll probably, next rally we have, proper rally that we have, will probably be run to 180k, 200k plus. You know what I mean? That's something you bet on. You don't bet on ETH to do a blow off top based on previous 2 cycles. Each cycle is different. But one thing that stays consistent is that every cycle is a 4-year cycle. And for you to keep plunging more and more money into ETH is just, I think it's just silly. I think he should be fired, honestly. Yeah. Pure gross mismanagement of funds right here. Literally. 8 billion.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the fact that it fell 90%, when I first saw that, I was like, wow, that's crazy. 90% on the stock market is pretty insane. But, I mean, there's a number of different ways I can tackle it. If you're invested, good luck. You might want to withdraw what's left of there and see what you can do with that. If you're not invested, but you were thinking of investing, probably think again. And it's not something I would touch with a barge pole in terms of trading. So, but in terms of, how this company has ended up in this position, it's like every founder needs to have a vision, and if you can't navigate properly, then you're going to get stuck. Difficulty is always going to get harder. That's just programmed into, the blockchains. We all know that. Electricity is obviously going up, and it's never gotten cheaper. It might come down a little bit, but it's not going to get cheaper long term, unless you use some sort of renewable source, and even then, it may not be the case. But for you to be in a position whereby you get, caught holding a bag, and you've got not only like the mining equipment is probably going up in price, the electricity is going up in price, your assets are going lower in price, Ethereum, like you couldn't have picked a worse market to be a part of. So yeah, I'm not invested in that. I don't think I would invest in any sort of mining company, personally speaking. If I'm investing in crypto, I'd rather have exposure to the direct assets. I don't see the benefit of investing into a mining company unless someone else can correct me. But I don't see the point. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But something else that may not make sense is Pump Fund, because Pump Fund recently launched Ethereum base and BNB. So is this the best thing that's happened to the trenches, or is it something that will kill what's left of it?
So basically, what those guys did is they basically just now allow you to swap from Pump Fund, which is, I'm not sure if it's still on the Solana blockchain. I don't. Maybe it is. I don't know. To now being able to do the same level of skullduggery on BNB and ETH and whatever the other one was. If this doesn't scream desperation and bear market to anybody, I just don't know what will. Like, are they expecting volumes to go up from this? Will volumes go up from this? I don't know. I feel like Solana was a pretty cheap network to do anything on. So realistically, yeah, I just don't see the point. But I mean, yo, if you might have a different angle, let me know. But for me, these guys are just they're clutching at straws.
Nah, they're definitely clutching at straws. But I can see why they're doing this, because if they don't do it, someone else will do it. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So in a desperate attempt to maintain market share, they want to expand to other networks. It's just going to depend on how well they execute it, because this could backfire. Like I said, obviously you said, and I agree that on Solana things are cheaper. At least you can be more focused. You know what I mean? Your team can be focused on just making sure that things are functioning well on Solana network. Now you have to worry about Base. Now you have to worry about BNB. You have to worry about Ethereum. Now you have to worry about how they change their protocol at a fundamental level, and keeping up with that with your code. So for me personally, I mean, you men are telling me this is not a bear market. Like, the signs are there. The signs are there. My God, privacy token pumping. You know what I mean? ETH doing nothing. BTC doing nothing. You know what I mean? Companies grabbing at straws, doing things, building MCP servers. You know what I mean? Begging them. Come on. It's there. The signals are there. Don't tell me about we're going to have a rally and do a blow off top in a couple months to 150. Like, it's just, that's crazy. That is crazy talk right there.
Yeah, I think they did it for a couple of reasons. One, yes, they are clutching at straws, and they need to be shipping products to try and attract and retain the people that are, still hanging around. I think the other reason is because, especially in the bull market, but even recently, they have left money on the table because they've only been focused on Solana. Now, it makes sense why, you start with Solana and, you build your home base there. It's cheap, it's fast. It already had a bit of a culture of memes, and now you obviously exploded that. But in the bull market, there were, BNB memes were popping off, Tron memes were popping off, Base memes were popping off, ETH memes were popping off. And even more recently, I remember when I did that story about Asteroid, and the ETH version is the one that went to hundreds of millions. Now, imagine that was launched on Pump Fund. That's a bunch of money that they can't now get exposure to. And especially in this time, every penny counts. So I think it's all of those reasons combined. But when you don't have to leave money on the table, and you're already the biggest and most well-known platform for meme coins in the space, it only makes sense. The only thing that may happen is like dilution, because it's already happening, but too many chains and there's only so many people. So that's the only negative or main negative thing I can think of. But aside from that, I understand why they've done it. Will it matter? Should you get involved? I'll probably hold off, to be fair. But yeah, I think every crypto company is doing everything they can right now to ensure that they stay afloat and can survive to the bull market. But with that being said, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.